Genetic engineering, hope for the future? Or is science just trying to get into our genes?
I'll have a liverwurst on a Kaiser roll.
At the Synthetic Food Laboratory, they're working with genetic engineering to create new foods to feed a starving world.
With mustard and some slaw on the side, por favor.
The top scientist in this highly experimental field is...
A little more mustard. Gracias.
Dr. Horst Schmidt.
Listen, you don't mind if we walk and talk? I'm a very busy man, and I only have a half hour for lunch.
Certainly. I understand you have developed a new life form that is a perfect protein.
Absolutely true.
Well, how did you come up with this new life form?
Gene splicing.
I see. Could you explain that for us?
Certainly. We combine the genes from insects with similar protein structure.
I see.
Then we put the genes in a jar filled with grass and twigs, a few holes in the lid for ventilation. Then we put the jar under a grow lamp.
And a new life started to form.
Yes, that was our first SNIT.
Snit?
SNIT, yes. It stands for Synthetic Nuclear Insect Technology.
Well, that's wonderful news, Professor. How long will it be before the world can sit down to a SNIT dinner?
Not for a while. You see, we have a problem.
Ah, what's that?
Well, first we have to make them appetizing.
Oh, they're not appetizing?
No, not at all. If you saw one now, you'd probably gag.
So it's ugly.
It's terrifying.
Well, what does this SNIT look like?
Do you know what guacamole looks like?
Yes?
Well, like that, but with eyes.
Eyes?
Yes, hundreds of eyes, bloodshot eyes staring up at you from the plate.
I see.
They also see.
Well, couldn't you slice or grind up these snits and serve them that way?
You know, that's another problem. We did that.
And what did you get?
More snits. As it turns out, they can't be killed.
Well, how about if you cook them?
Does no good. They just sit in the pan and make strange snorting noises.
The snits snorts?
Yes, they do. And there are so many of them that they make so much noise it drives the gods crazy. But that's not the big, huge problem.
I see. And what is the big, huge problem?
The strange disappearances.
Oh, the snits are disappearing?
No, the gods are disappearing.
The guards? Well, what do you think happened to them?
The snits ate them.
Well, how can you be so sure?
Well, it wasn't hard to figure out. One night we had two 150-pound gods. The next day we had a snit that gained 300 pounds.
Well, that's awful. Are you sure?
Absolutely positive. Let me show you on the blackboard. 2 G's for God, 1 S for snit. If you put 2 G's into 1 S, you get 1 GS.
And what's a GS?
That's a gigantic snit.
Well, do you mind if I open the door and see what one of these things look like here?
Don't open that door.
Good Lord, man. I think I'm going to gag.
I told you.
But, Professor, they're man-eaters. You've got to stop them.
We've tried everything. We've tried to shoot them, drown them, freeze them. The Pentagon sent over their best man armed to the teeth.
And where is he now?
He's in a snit. We watched him being devoured through a two-way mirror. It was not a pretty sight.
That's awful.
He was a valiant man. Right before his head vanished into the snit, he screamed, "Mama."
That's terrible.
It's a terrible problem.
So what you're telling me is your genetic engineering has put the Earth in mortal jeopardy.
So it would seem. If we can't confine these snits to this building, there is no safe place on Earth for human beings.
No safe place?
None at all.
I see.
That's why I've been working so feverishly on my next project.
What's that?
Space travel.